You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
Listening to Ring Kings Boxing on the PRO Media Network.
You're now rocking with Ring Kings Boxing. Big ups to the Fight family members. In this episode of Ring Kings, we cover the latest news. This one called Ring Kings Boxing. Next up, Andy Ruiz versus King Kong Ortiz. Is that in the pipe? We'll see how it goes, man. We'll cover this one. And more news on this version of Ring Kings Boxing. I'm Big Q chiming in, and we got my co-host chiming in, former professional boxer and fight analysis analyzer, Eddie Too Mean Johnson. What's going on, Too Mean? How you doing tonight, brother?
What's happening? How you doing, man?
Doing good, my brother. We got a lot to talk about on this episode of Ring Kings Boxing. I'd like to thank all of the Fight family members out there. Please feel free to hit upon the like button, subscribe, and join one of the realest show covering the fight game, Ring Kings Boxing, where we in the building. So with that being said, family, we have several fight topics we're going to cover in this episode of Ring Kings Boxing. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the bell for future content as we get ready to roll this episode of Ring Kings. So first and foremost, we're going to cover a few news notes and items that's up first. We talk about the Ruiz versus, Arreola fight that just happened. We'll get into that. We'll cover that. And of course, to hear what Andy Ruiz's father said about him beating Wilder and also beating Luis Ortiz, who is something because Luis Ortiz is the one calling Andy Ruiz out, which is a fight that I really wanted to see. I was calling for this fight a couple of years ago when I seen these two emerging guys. Of course, King Kong is getting up in age, man, and he wants a really good fight. And we know he can't. He had the Deontay Wilder series in which Wilder was able to put him down. But it'll be a really nice fight to see Ruiz and Ortiz go at it. So we'll cover this news notes and item as well. Erislandy Lara destroys Cornflake LaManna to capture the WBA 160-pound title. We'll cover that. Boy, he plastered this guy bad in the fight. It was a pretty destructive fight here. We'll cover that as well. We'll talk about Floyd Mayweather lining up with Logan Paul. Of course, it was June the 6th. 2 6s there, but ultimately they moved it to June the 5th. We'll talk about that, give our analysis on that. Bob Abrams in the news again, running his mouth. He says Pacquiao and Crawford is dead over money woes. So we'll cover that as well and give our analysis on that. Another one from ESPN saying Aram deems Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua fight dead in the water as well. I mean, as somebody as old and deteriorating as Bob Abrams, he needs to stop using the term dead. But we'll cover what he's saying here. And, of course, on the back end of the show, we'll get into the Lennox Lewis confirms Mike Tyson exhibition talks at Randy Ruiz Jr. versus Arreola fight. So Tyson team didn't get it tied up with Evander Holyfield. What Holyfield wanted Tyson. But looks like Lennox Lewis might have stepped in there. That'll be interesting to see how that goes. So with that being said, we'll talk about all these items to start off the show. So with that being said, let's hype right into it. As Ruiz Jr. beats Wilder and Luis Ortiz says Andy Sr. Now, of course, this is coming off a fight where you've seen Chris Arreola, knocked down. I ain't gonna say knocked down. He hit him and then his knee touched down. So I guess he put him down in the first round. But of course, Arreola was really pissed about that fight, Eddie. You seen the fight, man. You watched the fight. I've seen the fight as well. It was a pretty interesting fight, to be honest with you. It was really action-packed. Boy, Chris Arreola took some real clubbing, hardcore shots from Andy Ruiz in the fight. To me, what are your thought process on that fight between Andy Ruiz and Chris Arreola?
Yeah, it was pretty good, entertaining fight. You know what I'm saying? It's like he was doing good with the game plan until Ruiz made the adjustments. You know what I'm saying? Because he was doing too much reaching at first, but then he you know what I'm saying, when he got tagged like that, that kind of woke him up. It was like a wake up, like one of them flash knockdowns where it wake him up.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, yeah. I said, yeah. He said, I gotta wake up. I gotta be on point. You know, so you can see the ring rush there a little bit, but you know, so he still got more work he got to do. But he fought a good fight, man. I say he had that good jab. You know what I'm saying? He was using that jab to the body. I would like to see him use that jab going to the head more effective instead of pawing with it, using it as a measuring rod and shit. He need to use that to effective jab to, you know what I'm saying, to start landing more like straight right hands and all that. Yeah. But yeah, it was a pretty good fight though. But you know what I'm saying, the judges had that shit like Chris, like he only had what, he only won one round, the one he knocked him down now. Like that's bullshit. That's what pissed him off.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck they got this shit like this, man? Like, come on, what was they watching? I was like, yeah. I was like, and he made a good ass point too. He's like, yeah, the judges need to be wearing headphones so they won't be influenced by the crowd shit. When the crowd, you know what I'm saying, start roaring and shit, they thinking that somebody landed the punch when they didn't. They hit their gloves.
Right.
They be getting influenced by it. So,
Right. That's a great point.
yeah. So I think they should start doing that though.
Yeah, Ruiz is a serious, and you can see they're trying to switch up his style. He's been working with Canelo's team. You see that he lost a lot of weight, got his body in a lot better shape than what I ever seen him fight. And like you said, they're trying to get him, like you're right, they're trying to get him to be a little bit more active there and get a little bit more head movement in there. But you see some of those old habits die hard. You got to move that head and stick and move. And you're right. I think Ruiz would be a dangerous fighter, even more dangerous fighter if he was able to just kind of work that jab and get more of a shotgun jab to him where he can work that right hand in there. Because I mean, to be honest with you, man, he's clubbering when he hits. He got those short, stubby arms, but boy, did he pack some impact when they hit you. He was really plastering Chris Arreola, but Arreola is a savvy old vet, but boy, can he absorb some punishment to me.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. He definitely take a ticket and keep, or a hitting and keep on ticking, whatever you call it. But that ain't good because shit. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna affect you in the long run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Punishment like that. The game of boxing, you're supposed to hit, not get hit.
Yeah, I think he got the game turned around, but it's a little too late for Arreola. Is he getting toward the back? He's in the back end of his professional fight career. It's not much championship moments that Chris Arreola is going to be looking at. Just the old veteran. That'll be probably a measuring stick for younger heavyweights moving up. But I think we've seen the last few years of Chris Arreola before he ultimately hangs him up. So let's move on to the next one because Ruiz did get the win against Chris Arreola in what was basically it was a unanimous decision given to Ruiz. And of course, Arreola, like Toomey mentioned it, didn't like it at all. But even though that might be the case, we move on. Now, what could be next for for Andy Ruiz? Is it King Kong Ortiz? And this is something that I talked about a couple of years ago on Ring Kings Boxing, or at least last year for that measure, is that I would like to see a fight between Ortiz and Ruiz. These are two really good heavyweights that's sitting right in the second tier of the heavyweights that's there. And Luis Ortiz is now calling out Andy Ruiz, and he wants him next. So as we get into the article by Dan Ambrose, it says two-time heavyweight title challenger Luis King Kong Ortiz was in attendance for the Andy Ruiz fight with Chris Arreola last Saturday night and says he's ready to take on the destroyer Andy Ruiz, who's 34-2 with 24 knockouts next. Interesting, Ortiz said that he saw the fight as a close one. The judges, however, gave Ruiz the win by this set of one-sided scores, as you can see him there. And Ortiz, who's 42, was at the Dignity Health Sports Complex in Carson, ready to call Ruiz for this next fight. Now, Ortiz is one of the names that has been mentioned for Ruiz's next fight, but it's now unclear whether the promoters at PBC will let him take on a dangerous Cuban. And if you're Andy Ruiz, I don't see this is a legacy. Well, it's a measuring stick fight for him to take on. Definitely a step up in class over Chris Arreola. No disrespect to him, but Ortiz is definitely the boogeyman of the heavyweight division. Nobody wants to see him. Andy Ruiz would be a really terrific fight. Two really skilled, respected heavyweights going at it. To me, what do you think about the prospects of Luis Ortiz and Andy Ruiz?
It will be a terrific fight if it does happen. But the fight he just won, it was supposed to be a title eliminator. I think he'll rather fight for the title than to fight him, because you know what I'm saying. It's a strong possibility he might lose that fight with Ortiz, man. I think Ortiz style is like tailor made for somebody like Andy Ruiz, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying. King Kong, he can box, man. He can punch too. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think Andy Ruiz hit hard like Wilder. I mean, he hits hard, but I don't think he got that one punch knockout power like Wilder does. So I don't think he'll really be able to hurt or put some serious hurt on King Kong Ortiz, man, like that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I think it will be a terrific fight, man.
Because I mean, the thing is Andy Ruiz moving ahead. It's a title eliminator, but right now the heavyweight division is all tied up with the titles, which you're looking at with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. You know, so Joshua has the belts and whatever belts, all of the belts except for what Tyson Fury have, which is what is the WBC belt, along with the lineal title. Is what Tyson Fury laid claim to. So I mean, outside of that, I mean, it's pretty much what it is, you know, with them. So you're going to sit there and wait, and many people believe that when it finally happens, it'll be a trilogy, because the first fighter makes so much money they'll want to do it again and again. So this could tie the belt up for at least a year and a half, possibly 2 years. If they fight twice in a year, and then the following year, that could be a year and a half to 2 years that the belts are tied up. So you might have an opportunity in between to fight that fight. But you're right. Would Andy Ruiz, his team, allow him to fight Luis Ortiz, knowing that if he loses that opportunity there, that he would definitely fall out? So it's food for thought. But if it did happen, if they did agree upon it, who wins this fight in your opinion?
I have to go with King Kong Ortiz, man. I think he got more. You know what I'm saying? I think he got enough in his arsenal to deal with somebody like Andy Ruiz, man. You know what I'm saying? You notice, like Andy Ruiz, he throws the same type punches every single combination. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Somebody smart, a smart boxer will pick up on that. They'll know exactly what he coming with. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying, at the same time too, he can switch it up. But yeah, I will go with King Kong, because I think he got the power, he got the boxing ability to deal with somebody like Ortiz.
Yeah, it'll be fun to fight. A fun fight. I've been calling for that fight over a year now. A good skills matchup between the two.
Oh yeah. Yeah, King Kong can box too, man. He got that jab, he got the power. You know what I'm saying? He definitely got the experience by him coming over there in Cuba, being in the Olympics and stuff like that.
Right. Let's move on to the next one here. To me, we got the next one to do, and that's it's Erislandy. Lara destroys Thomas Cornflake LaManna to capture the WBA 160-pound title. You watched this fight. I watched it too, man. He made the American Dream made short work. He was a nightmare for Cornflake LaManna in this one. And Lara's 28-3 with 16 knockouts, moved up in weight to defeat the number eight WBA Thomas Cornflake LaManna, who's 30-5 with 12 knockouts by a first-round knockout to capture the vacant WBA regular middleweight title on Saturday night at Dignity Health Sport Complex in Carson. So this was a really good fight. The former WBA middleweight champion landed a hard left hand down the pipe to drop the 28-year-old New Jersey native LaManna flat on his back. He destroyed him in the fight, really pummeled him. And he was hitting him with some shots early on, and I knew this was going to be a short fight to me, because this kid walked into a buzzsaw and Lara made him pay.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's like, you know You know what I'm saying? He seen it. You know what I'm saying? He made that mistake. He made him pay for it real quick. You know what I'm saying? So he might have been a little too nervous or something. But I was like, you know what I'm saying? He making mistakes that early. He must not know who he was dealing with. He thought it was somebody easier to fight. Lara ain't no joke, man. He's a top dude, man. You know what I'm saying? So he made quick work of his ass because he made a mistake and made him pay. What's his name? Cornflake.
Cornflake got emptied out.
Yeah, he got stepped on. Made that sound of when you step on a cornflake, squish it.
He got crunched. He got smashed.
Yeah.
Lara's an excellent fighter, man. 28-3-3. 28-3-3, 16 knockouts. Number 16 knockout was Cornflake. He got plastered. Well, Cornflake's respectable in his own right. He was 30-5 with 12 knockouts. But boy, did he come into a buzzsaw against that surrounded Lara. And he paid for it, man. He paid for it. All right, moving on to the next one here. The report to me that Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul boxing match have been moved from June the 6th. It was supposed to be the 6th of June to June the 5th. So Mayweather's exhibition bout against Logan Paul has a new date. The boxing legend and YouTuber will face off on June 5th, with the venue still to be determined, according to Athletic. The bout has been previously scheduled for February 20, but was later postponed indefinitely. Online platform FanMio was initially slated to host the bout, but it will now be reportedly televised by Showtime. The CEO of Mayweather Promotion disputed a report that the fight is being used as leverage with Showtime parent company Viacom. However, under the reported terms of the agreement, Mayweather can't weigh in more than 160 pounds, while Paul will have to come in under 190 pounds. Mayweather said on Instagram that the venue has been narrowed down to 5 choices, which is Vegas, Los Angeles, Miami, Dallas, and Atlanta. So with that being said, he says Mayweather is obviously the overwhelming favorite to win. Even Paul's own brother, Jake, who's coming off first round knockout of ex-UFC fighter Ben Askren, said that the YouTuber is effed and the match is a terrible idea. Paul's last foray in the ring was a split decision loss to fellow YouTuber KSI in November. Mayweather hasn't fought since defeating Japanese kickboxer Tenshin Nasukawa. Let me say that again. Nasukawa via first round TKO and exhibition match in 2018. His last professional bout was against UFC star Conor McGregor in 2017. And they say Mayweather Paul competing with Teofimo Lopez. Barring another postponement, Mayweather's fight will be competing head to head with a highly anticipated actual boxing match, which is Teofimo Lopez coming off an upset win over Vasily Lomachenko, scheduled to fight against George Kambosos Jr. on June the 5th as well. The fight will be posted by Triller Fight Club, which is also aired Jake Paul Askren fight and the music festival. So with that being said, and Teofimo Lopez in that Kambosos fight, that's going to be an intense fight. Both of those guys are talking reckless to each other. Be interesting to see how that goes. But two main thoughts on this, man. This fight between Mayweather going against Logan Paul on June the 5th, man. Is it even worth it?
I mean, it's gonna be good entertainment. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? He earned the right to go ahead and like a lot of the other legends did after they retired, to do exhibitions and stuff like that, putting on a good show for the people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he earned that right. So yeah, make that shit happen. He gonna fuck him up though.
Yeah, he gonna give him a boxing match. You know, he definitely gonna give him a boxing match and take it to him.
Yeah, especially if he get out of line and shit, and start, you know what I'm saying, getting a little too what you call it?
Too lippy.
Yeah, get too bold and shit and cocky and shit. And Mayweather gonna make his ass pay. I don't give a fuck how big he is. You know what I'm saying? If somebody with skill like Mayweather, he'll put his big ass down quick, man. Little as Mayweather is, he will knock him out quick.
But you see, the agreement says that Mayweather can't come in over 160, while Paul will have to come in under 190. So the guy will have, at least if he does that, at least a 20 plus pound difference in weight on Mayweather.
Oh yeah, that shit don't mean nothing when you on the skill level as Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? Like we talked about before when Sugar Ray Leonard he did the exhibition against that championship amateur light heavyweight when Sugar Ray Leonard was only 140 something pounds. The dude got cocky and Ray took him out like 2 punches. That was it. Put his big ass down with 2 body shots, and the shit was over with. I mean, he hurt him pretty bad too, man. So the size really don't mean nothing when you on that skill level as them.
Right. Yeah.
Damn thing.
Yeah, you talking about a master boxer right here, and we know Mayweather still trains hard, man. To be interesting to see his skill set once again in the ring. Mayweather June the 5th is the latest information, y'all. Okay, moving to actual fighting and back to it. Arum Pacquiao Crawford is dead over money woes, which is a shame because this fight was picking up steam. Pacquiao against Crawford. But I would love to have seen it, being that Pacquiao said he had one more fight. Well, Freddie Roach said last year he had 2 fights in him. It might be down to 1 fight. He's looking to get paid. So I hope he's still not holding on to that $40 million fight fee that he wants. So let's get into the article by Boxing Scene. Dan Raphael says the prospect of Manny Pacquiao Terence Crawford fight is dead. Top-ranked chairman Bob Arum told Boxing Scene. Arum said there was a deal agreed to for Crawford to defend the WBO welterweight world title against Pacquiao, the all-time great 8-division world champion, on June the 5th in the main event of the ESPN pay-per-view event from Abu Dhabi, the capital of the United Arab Emirates. Arum said that the terms have not been agreed to, but the money that was supposed to be put up by a specific deadline was not. Look, what happened to us in Abu Dhabi was we signed contracts and everything they were supposed to put up the money. They were supposed to put up the money. Well, I've been waiting for 2 weeks for the money. Nobody put up the money after promising they would. But Pacquiao and Crawford have agreed, and we have signed an agreement from this group in Abu Dhabi, subject to the money getting put up by the Abu Dhabi government. With deadlines missed and no money coming through, the fight is off, Arum said. Sure, I'm disappointed about that. Why do you think I'm so pessimistic? What's happening is this overseas investors make these deals and they look good and so forth. Then somebody says, hey, with the C-19, who's coming? Because of the C-19, everybody's counting on money from outside the United States. Arum declined to say the dollar figure the investors had agreed to put up in a deal brokered by former Pacquiao advisor Michael Coons. But Arum acknowledged that because of the corona's C-19, it would have been virtually impossible to have a large crowd in the UAE for the fight this summer. Arum is dealing with similar issues with Saudi Arabian investors who were supposed to put up $150 million site fee for a late July, August undisputed heavyweight and world championship fight between Fury and Joshua. However, Arum claims that Joshua promoter Hearn, the Matchroom Boxing, who is spearheading the site deal, promised a binding agreement about 2 weeks ago, but has yet to produce one and since have gone radio silent. Arum said that even with Pacquiao Crawford falling through, which is always viewed as a long shot to happen, he's planning another Crawford fight. We'll have a fight. Crawford will be in the ring by September, Arum said. We have certain names, but I'm not going to reveal it until I've got it done. Arum will have to go outside Top Rank stable to find a Crawford opponent, which he acknowledged is not a top-ranked boxer. So 33-year-old Crawford is 37-0 with 28 knockouts, has won titles in 3 weight classes, just recently defeated Kell Brook. And then, of course, Arum has struggled to find opponents for Crawford to face because most of those welterweights are in the PBC, which is why he should have went over there. The Filipino legend Pacquiao, 62-7-2 with 39 knockouts, who's 42. His fighting schedule is limited to certain times of the year because of his duties as a senator, has been linked to various fights, but has not boxed since Keith Thurman in the first round and winning decision to claim the welterweight title in 2019. So with that being said, to me, and you hear what old man Arum saying about the fight is dead because of the outside investor money not coming on. So the next question is, if Pacquiao and Crawford is off, who do you foresee Crawford fighting next? We know that Arum said it won't be a top ranked fighter, so more than likely to be a PBC guy. Who do you think? Thurman?
I think it's supposed to be Sean Porter.
Porter.
Yeah. But yeah, Bob Arum, he's full of shit, man. I was like we talked about before, man. Terence Crawford need to form his own thing, man, and get away from Bob Arum for real. If he don't do that, then I like he must want him to get he want to get fucked by him then, because I'm like everybody can see that Bob Arum don't have Crawford's best interest at heart, man. And if somebody you feel as though somebody don't have your best interest at heart, you supposed to separate from them and do your own thing, man. You know what I'm saying? Or find somebody who actually gonna have your best interest at heart, man. You know what I'm saying? He wants the big fights. He ain't getting them. All right, well, that'll tell you something right there. He need to get the fuck away from him and do his own thing, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He getting up there in age too, so he might as well try to make as much money as he can too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Terrence Bud Crawford promotions or something. TBC promotion. You know what I'm saying? You need to do that. You need to make that move, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I know he got his best interest at heart. Don't fuck with nobody ain't got your best interest at heart, man.
Yeah, you said that's very true. All of that is good information. The Sean Porter situation, he's the mandatory for Crawford's belt. So in my opinion, that would be a fantastic fight. But I also know Keith Thurman was pushing to get a matchup with Bud Crawford as well. But Sean Porter's next up because he's the mandatory. So that will still be a pretty good fight, a very interesting fight for him to fight because he'll be in a fight Errol Spence. It could be a good measuring stick as well. And it'll be a good fight to see how Bud Crawford deals with a very tough fighter like Sean Porter, who still has championship aspirations. Now, of course, we know with Errol Spence on the other side of the fence with PBC, it lined up perfectly for him because with them stripping Pacquiao of the belt and putting him in recess, and of course giving the belt to Ugas and Errol Spence lined up what is supposed to be the next up fight. And they're both PBC's fighters, just like when Pacquiao was there. And that lined up perfectly as Errol Spence has Ugas to fight for that next upcoming belt, which Crawford is on the other side. So we'll have to see that occur as well. So ultimately, I think once this all irons it out, because of course there was the names going to throwing the names, and I'm better than you between Spence and Crawford back and forth. But I think eventually, and it all come together after the next fight, after Errol Spence beats Ugas. In my opinion, it's going to be a tough fight. By the way, I don't think it's going to be an easy fight because Ugas is a very good fighter. A lot of people sleeping on this dude. To me, he's a hell of a fighter. And it'll be a tough fight, but ultimately, I think Errol Spence does win that bout. And when that happens, I think he then turns his sight on Crawford to get that fight done. There is no other way for it. There's no other place or direction for Errol to go once he defeats Ugas later on. Is the point his attention will be at Terrence Crawford. And already there's no place for Terrence Crawford to go, but except for mandatories and get away from Top Rank, obviously. But and like I said, I think one more fight between the both of them. Terrence gets Crawford, gets Sean Porter. Errol Spence gets Ugas. And after those two fighters, those fights over with, and presuming that both of those fighters, both Crawford and Spence, win, then I'm saying they both looking at each other and what could be a trilogy fight between some of the best welterweights that we see in a long time. To me,
Yeah, hopefully it'll work. But the way Errol Spence is talking, trying to give him Terrence Crawford less money than what he's worth, I don't think Crawford really ain't gonna accept that. So it might not never happen. So hopefully it'll go right. So
yeah, I think it irons it out. Like they talking like that right now because they don't have any intentions of fighting each other right now. But I think ultimately once Errol Spence gets beyond Ugas, he wants Terrence Crawford belt to unify the welters. And in order for that to happen, he has to beat him. But anyway, let's move on to our final fight as we our final situation here. Lennox Lewis confirms Mike Tyson exhibition talks at Andy Ruiz Jr. Too mean quickly. What do you think about Lennox Lewis versus Tyson on the Triller event?
I wouldn't mind seeing it. Tyson try to get his revenge back when Lennox Lewis whooped his ass, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was like, cause man, he fucked Tyson up pretty bad, man.
All right.
For
yeah, that was something else, man. We're going to do that. Thank y'all for listening to us on Ring Kings Boxing. Appreciate y'all chiming in. Once again, I'm Big Q. We got Too Mean in the building as well. We appreciate y'all for chiming in on this edition of Ring Kings Boxing. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you later. Peace.
You're now listening to the Ring Kings Boxing on the PRO Media Network.